Mafadhaiko, mateso, mahangaiko yanayoendelea kuwakumba waathiriwa wa mkasa wa moto katika mtaa wa Mradi Village, Embakasi Mashariki yanaendelea sasa kuwatona vidonda hata siku zinapoendelea kusonga zaidi. Yote haya ni kutoka hapa jiji kuu la Nairobi. Alhamisi mapema.
Question. And this goes to DG.
Kamati ya bunge kuhusu kawi ilifika katika majengo ya bunge hapa jijini Nairobi.
The climate action agenda.
Yote haya ikiwa ni kuangazia swala nzima la fidia ya waathiriwa wa mkasa wa moto wa gesi katika mtaa wa Mradi Embakasi jijini Nairobi lililotokea mnamo tarehe 1 Februari mwaka 2024.
They happen to be licenses for other things.
Waliofika mbele ya kamati hiyo ni akiwemo waziri wa kawi Davis Chirchir na katibu mkuu Daniel Kipto Bargoria.
Where was the source of this gas?
Kamati hiyo inaongozwa na mwenyekiti na vilevile mbunge wa Mwala Vincent Musyoka Msau Kawaya aliyetaka kujua viwanda vingine vingapi vinavyohudumu kimagendo humu nchini.
We woke up to shocking news that some facility had exploded, and it was worse when we got the news that this facility again was not licensed, and it got Kenyans worried. How was it operating without being licensed? Then, of course, the questions that how many other such facilities are operating without being licensed? And as you can see, Kenyans are very cunning, and with possibilities of all sorts of things. This particular facility was operating at night. During the day, it is a garage. At night, it's a refilling station.
Je, ni nani aliyempa leseni mumiliki wa kiwanda hicho? Kawaya alitaka kujua kwa kina uwepo wa EPRA katika shughuli nzima.
In this process of licensing, how many agencies are involved? Like what particularly is your role? And for you to say now I have licensed this particular facility, which other government agencies play a role in this particular process, so that now you're saying, before I license you, go to this particular agency, and bring ABCD?
I think the context of closing operators, when we had the national LPG stakeholders workshop, it must be understood that this is a very high capital investment area. The majors, the oil majors like the Total and the Shell and the Rubies of this world have significant investments, and downstream there in the value chain, they do employ distributors to support them to. So in the national stakeholders, for example, not to answer your question, but to specifically deal with this particular one, because you will give us time to respond, did indicate that they want very stringent measures to protect this industry.
Lakini je, EPRA wana mbinu zipi za kutathmini ni kwa namna gani viwanda vya gesi vinavyofanya kazi humu nchini?
Are you specifically the one who goes checking whether there are such facilities operating illegally, whether licensed legally or legally, operating legally, to know whether they are still compliant, and also the ones that are operating illegally?
We do have a list of all the facilities that are licensed and those that have been shut down either on account of not meeting the technical standard or being within a 200-meter radius. And we have that information, and we're happy to supply it to the committee.
Mbunge wa Awendo Walter Owino vilevile alitilia wasiwasi wa EPRA kutobaini haswa kile kilichokuwa kikiendelea katika mtaa wa Mradi Embakasi Mashariki.
You have some team that goes around inspecting petrol or gas stations selling illegal petrols, or who are dealing with adulterated fuel. I don't know whether this is only applied or applicable when we are talking about petrol and not gas, because if this team were to be dealing with gas, then I think they should have discovered that this is going on. You know, this is something that took some time. These are people who made the applications 3 times, which you rejected. And if you had, if you have a surveillance team that goes around to try and check what is happening, then they would have reported to you that we have people out there who are doing ABCD. Number 2, you seem to have taken a lot of safety actions after this incident, especially in residential areas. Were you waiting for this to happen before taking action, or this incident is what prompted you into doing whatever you've done? Number 3 is that how often do you inspect the already licensed dealers just to ensure that they are compliant?
An illegal operation is running at night, and it has not been reported through that surveillance, prevention, because really, I think it's very important to all of us to take responsibility that if we know there is an illegal operation running anywhere, including those that are being reported by Kenyans today.
Mbunge wa Embakasi South Mawathe Julius Msili naye pia alipandisha joto hata zaidi, akiibua swala jingine jipya kuhusiana na gesi mtaani Imara Daima katika barabara kuu ya Mombasa Nairobi, huku Kiptoo akijitetea kinamna.
There is a facility that's licensed by EPRA that's filling gas in Imara Daima, and it is touching the walls to one side of another company, and on the back side touching the wall of residential building.
Honorable Mwave, I can confirm that all the facilities that are within a 200-meter radius, we have been able to seal them and shut them down. And this has happened from when the incident occurred up to today. We are happy to have an engagement with the honorable member on the specific of the facility.
Mawathe hakumalizia hapo tu. Alijizuia kutotaja kampuni na hasa mmiliki wa kiwanda hicho, ila jawabu la Kiptoo lilimpandisha mzuka wa kutaka kujua na kuweka mambo paruanja.
I'm trying to go as polite as possible, as low, as possible, but let's speak the truth in this hall. M-Gas is operating and is filling gas in Imara Daima as we speak. Even somebody sitting next to you just nodded. I did not bring up anybody's name, but M-Gas is operating in a residential area and is filling gas in Imara Daima as we speak.
Kampuni ya M-Gas imepatiwa leseni ya kuhudumu katika makazi ya raia. Waziri Chirchir alijitetea kimtindo mtindo.
And even as we go forward to accelerate the LPG growth, the question as you operate within a residential area, because this gas is used in our homes, it is used in our residence. How do we make sure that the gas is readily available within where we live, but available in a safe way? Not necessarily being sold within the kiosk. With this regulation today that even within the petrol station, you require a gauge at a certain distance from the petrol station. Are things we need to really think about as we take the question of Mawathe very seriously, and possibly even today or tomorrow confirm that information and see how to action either closure or enforcement of whatever it is, so that we don't impact in this very high capital area. But to the extent that impacts on human security, we'll have to take necessary action.
Baada ya hapo, tulielekea katika majengo ya Seneti ambapo tulikutana na maseneta Ledama Olekina, seneta wa Narok, na vilevile Edwin Sifuna wa kaunti ya Nairobi, ambao walitoa msimamo wao dhabiti kuhusiana na kufidiwa kwa waathiriwa wa Embakasi.
Cabinet Secretary, you've undertaken to be able to ensure that those people are compensated. I want to remind you today that you are under oath, and I also want to refer you to Article 153, 4B of the Constitution. I would like to request that you submit a status update to this House as per the law, to ensure that at least what we are doing here does not just remain to be mere talk.
He has graciously undertaken to give us feedback, but I heard him say a few days, so I just wanted him to give, at least for the comfort of the people of Embakasi, a specific number of days when we can expect to hear from disaster on the compensation of those victims. And finally, Kiptoo, if indeed you are developing regulations to limit the number of petrol stations within a certain specific area, then why don't you freeze for the moment the licensing of opening of new petrol stations or construction of new petrol stations in estates until those regulations are developed? Thank you, Chair.
Kuachiliwa kwa bondi ya shilingi 500,000 kwa Derek Kimathi ambaye ndiye mmiliki mkuu wa kiwanda hicho chenye mauti kunaibua maswali mengi kwa Wakenya walipa ushuru na hata kwa kamati ya bunge ya seneti inayochunguza kisa hicho. Huenda waathiriwa mkasa wa moto katika mtaa wa Embakasi Mashariki wakasubiria hata zaidi, huku macho yote yakielekezwa kwa serikali iwapo itawapatia fidia kwa wakati unaofaa. Nikiripotia Moredio kutoka katika majengo ya bunge hapa jijini Nairobi, jina langu ni Ronnie Regan.
Moredio 88.2 FM. We are in charge.